Good morning, kids. It's Mr. Agee here. For your math assignment today, you are going to click into the week 3 assignments. You're going to head into the math folder. You are going to open up this Wednesday Math Module 1 Lesson 10 problem set, and you are going to use Kami to complete this assignment. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I want to show you about how to do this. But when you're finished, you are going to click this Turn In button. And when you click it, you have to click this Turn In button as well to submit it to me. Now, this, this lesson deals with a new property that we touched on a little bit yesterday called the distributive property. And it sounds a lot worse than it is. It's actually one of my favorite tools to teach young math students, young mathematicians. Once you understand the distributive property, it unlocks many more difficult problems for you. So we're going to dig into it a little bit here, but you've got two problems on the first page, and it's a little bit tricky when we say two problems. Each problem is actually several problems. So you've got all the empty blanks is what you need to fill out, and you're going to see problems that have parentheses in them and things like that, which you may not have seen before. And if you have, that's great. But parentheses means you look at that part of the problem as a group and you do it together first before you do the things that are outside of the parentheses. And you'll have many more lessons on that as you go through your math education as well. But looking down, we've got three total problems with many sub-problems. And I'm going to get back into how you actually do the problems on this page in a second. I want to give you a little mini lesson on the distributive property first. So when I talk about the distributive property, I am talking about a property that allows us to break bigger multiplication problems into easier, smaller problems. Now, you can use the distributive property with all four of the basic operations. You can use it with adding, you can use it with subtracting, you can use it with multiplication, and you can use it with division. But for our purposes here today, we are focused on using the distributive property for multiplication. So I gave an example problem here. We've got 7 times 6. Now, some of you probably have a big brother or big sister that's going to tell you, oh, that's 42. You don't even need to think about this anymore. Well, once you get to know me more, the answer is important, but it's not nearly as important as knowing how to find answers. Your processes, the way that you think, the way that you approach the problem, that's what my specialty is. Helping people understand how to approach problems and understand what's really going on inside the problem. So for the problem 7 times 6, we're going to look at the distributive property here. And I tell you here, it's the same as 5 times 6 plus 2 times 6. And notice they're in the parentheses here. That means you do this problem together before you add them back together. So I split the 7 here, the first factor, into parts. Okay, I split it into a 5 and a 2 using that handy number bond that we learned about way back in first grade. So 7 is made of 5 and 2. Now I could have chosen 4 and 3, I could have chosen 6 and 1, but I chose 5 and 2 for a very specific reason. Notice I colored the 5 blue and I colored the 2 green, and I did that so you could see where those numbers come from. I chose 5 and 2 because 5 and 2 are friendly numbers. You might be asking, how is 2 problems easier than just doing 1 problem? Well, in this case, I'll show you it is easier, but when the numbers get really big, which they will this year for you, it's good for you to have a tool in your pocket or in your tool belt that you can pull out and say, okay, this is a huge number and I know how to break it into easier problems because I know some numbers that are easier to work with. In general, friendlier numbers are 2s, 5s, and 10s. Okay, if you can get it down to 2s, 5s, and 10s, we've been working with those for a long time. You can use count bys the count by strategy with 2s, 5s, and 10s, so you can do most of the work mentally. So when you distribute, you're looking for friendlier numbers, numbers that you have more experience with. In first and second grade, you probably worked with 5s and 2s a lot more than 7s. Let's prove it. Okay, so you remember the count by strategy, right? It's a handy tool for multiplication. Let's use the count by to do 7 times 6. I'll count by 7s. You do it with me. So if we're going to do 7 times 6, hold up 6 fingers, and each time we count a 7, you're going to put one of your fingers down until all your fingers are down. Ready? Here we go. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42. Easy, right? You stayed right with me, didn't you? I thought so. It was hard, probably. It's harder to count by 7s, okay? So now let's try it with 5s and then with 2s. So we can illustrate that 5s are easier to count by and 2s are easier to count by. So we're going to do 6 of each multiple. Let's get ready. So first we're going to count by 5s. Put up 6 fingers because we're going to do 5 times 6. And we're going to count by 5s. Count with me. Get ready. Here we go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Now that was much easier. We have a lot of experience counting by 5s in our education and a lot less experience counting by 7s. Okay, now let's try it by 2s. Hold up your 6 fingers because we're doing 2 times 6. We're going to use the count by strategy using multiples of 2. Ready? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. All right, so we just figured out that 2 times 6 is 12 using the count by strategy for the friendly number 2. Okay, so you can see that the 5s were easier than the 7s and the 2s were easier than the 7s. So some students who are really smart and they just want to try to prove everybody wrong all the time. They're like, no, 7s was just as easy. Well, you know what? I just don't believe that. 5s and 2s are easier to work with than 7s. So here's the lesson. 5s and 2s are friendly. 7 and 6s, not so much. The distributive property can make problems easier for us by letting us use smaller, more friendly numbers. So hooray for the distributive property. But how does it work? Let's take a look back at our model here. We know that 7 times 6 is the same now as 5 times 6 and 2 times 6, but how? Well, I'm going to choose one factor to break up into friendlier numbers. I could have chosen the 6, but in this case, I think the 7 is a little less friendly than 6, so I want to break up the least friendly number into more friendlier numbers, into more friendly numbers. So I chose to break the factor 7 into 5 and 2, and now I have separated this original problem into 2 separate problems. I want you to think like about Humpty Dumpty with a happier ending. In Humpty Dumpty, he falls off the wall and breaks apart, and nobody can put him back together again. Well, what we're going to do is he's going to fall off the wall, and we're going to successfully put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Okay? So we're going to visualize 7 times 6 using an array. It's a model that you should be familiar with by now. And if you count, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 X's in each row. And all together, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows. So in its totality, this array all together represents 7 times 6. Well, when you distribute, you break it into smaller parts. So what I've done here is I've put a dotted line here to illustrate to you that I'm breaking this problem into 2 easier problems. I'm looking at this one, 5 times 6, and then this one, 2 times 6, okay? So now I've got 5 times 6 that demonstrates the top portion of the array. It's 5 rows of 6, and then 2 times 6 represents 2 rows of 6. Okay, and just to show you, the 5 is here and the 2 is here. So we just broke that 7 up into 5 and 2. Now, when we solve this using our count by, which we already did, we can do it again here. 5 times 6, hold up your 6 fingers and count by fives. Ready? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. We get 30 for 5 times 6. And now let's do a count by for 2 times 6. Ready? Hold up your 6 fingers. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So we see that 5 times 6 gives us a product of 30, and when you multiply the factors 2 and 2 times 6, you end up with a product of 12. So we've got the pieces of Humpty Dumpty here, 30 and 12. Now it's time to put them back together. So what we take apart, we have to put back together. So we know that 5 times 6 is 30 and 2 times 6 is 12. So when we look at 7 times 6, taking it apart using the distributive property, we've got the product to 5 times 6 here, 30, and the product to 2 times 6 here, 12, and we're putting it back together. 30 and 12 go up 10 from 30 is 40, and then up 2 more is 42. All right, that was my illustration of the distributive property. We're going to switch back over here to your assignment. This now should look familiar to you based on the little mini lesson I taught. They're looking at 7 times 3 and they're breaking that 7 into a 5 and a 2. Notice the second factor doesn't change. They illustrate it with the same exact type of array that I used. So 7 times 3 would be 7 rows of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And they break it into two friendlier problems, 5 times 3 and 2 times 3. And then in the bottom part, they're putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. In this problem, they don't use 4 isn't necessarily what I would consider a friendly number, but here's how they use the distributive property to help them. So 8 times 3, they notice that 8 right here is you can use a doubles fact to get to 8. Whoops, sorry. And so the doubles fact for 8 is 4 plus 4. And here's why that's easier. If you do 4 times 3 one time, guess what? You don't have to do it a second time. Once you've done it once, you already know the answer to the bottom part. Okay, so you've got a 4 times 3 here, and it's going to be the same as the 4 times 3 here. So that's how it's easier for 8 times 3. They just basically crack Humpty Dumpty directly in half and use a doubles fact to put them back together again. Okay, so I'm making it sound easier than it might be. Just remember to be patient with yourself, and this is your first day of really digging into the distributive property. So try your best, and be sure to come to me with questions if you have them. The bottom part's a little bit tricky. They give you this story problem. Ruby makes a photo album, and you can use the text-to-speech here to help you with hearing the problem. One page is shown below. So this is a whole page of her photo album. Ruby puts 3 photos in each row. Okay, fill in the equations on the right. Use them to help you draw arrays that show the photos on top and bottom and parts of the page. So here's the top part of the page. We've got something times 3 equals 6. Okay, well, I'm going to use my shapes here, and I'm running out of time. I'm going to try to, whoops, that's not the shape I want to use. So let's erase it. Here, I want to use photos, right? So I've got 1, 2, and 3 in the top row. But I'm supposed to have 6 total in this section. So I think I'm going to need another row of 3, right? 1, 2, and 3. So now I can see I've got 1 row of 3, 2 rows of 3. That gets me to 6. So in this space here, I'm going to make sure that I use the text box to write the type 2. All right, you got to finish out with this diagram here and what goes in the space. And then this bottom part, I'm going to try to sneak this in. Ruby calculates the total number of photos as shown below. Use the array you drew to help explain Ruby's calculation. So use this array that you drew to explain it. I want you to use the comment feature, okay? So you've got a voice comment or a text comment. If you do a voice comment, you can just click on it right here and it records your voice. So you can just explain your your work up here by talking about it. It's amazing. Good luck. Do your best.